Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
Yeah, it is. It's always good to be in your presence. We're back again with another show.
Yeah, going into a new year.
Brand new 2018.
Yeah.
We're grateful to be alive and to be on the air and share information with our community.
And speaking of being on the air, people can watch this show on Sundays.
Yes.
At 5:30.
5:30. And you can watch us on not only Sundays, but Fridays.
Fridays.
At 9:30. And so become a part of the Real People, Real Voices audience. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and we want to thank Lee, Cossell, and Crawley, attorneys at law.
Stuart Marchuary, who's been with us almost a year now. And then we have Fervent Care Christian Academy.
Yeah.
And we're grateful for Fervent Prayer being along with us to make sure Real People, Real Voices gets out in the community.
Always good to have good sponsors. Also, Chaparral's supplying food for us on the set.
Every set is full of food.
Great food.
Yeah, and we're still looking for sponsors. People who want to help sponsor, keep us on the air to make sure we can share information with you, what's going on in Central Indiana. Love to do so.
I want to encourage you to go to the YouTube channel, WHMB TV 40, become a subscriber. You can watch this show when it's over, as well as other shows that you might have missed. A lot of great information.
Yes, a lot of great information, pertinent information.
Yeah.
And you can put your finger on it and see the pulse of Indianapolis and Central Indiana. We're grateful for that.
And of course, like us on Facebook. We would certainly like for you to do that. We've got a great show lined up for you on today. Our first guest that will be coming up, Miss Joanne Cornett's going to be coming.
She's going to be coming up, and she's going to give us some information. She's done a lot of work. She's an author, writer, and we're going to hear what she has to say that will give us information that we can contact her and get information about her and what she's doing in our community.
So stay with us. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined today by Miss Joanne Cornett.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And you're the author of a very wonderful book called The Last Colored Girl.
Yes, I've been looking at this, and we want to make sure you all see it, The Last Colored Girl. Where can we get this?
It's found on Amazon.com, plus for the locals. I keep copies in my car wherever I go, so I have some copies on hand.
Traveling
Then it can be
bookstore.
found at Amazon.com, yes.
All right.
So why did you write the book?
First of all, I believe that writing the book was God-inspired, so to speak, because I felt like my life, in a sense, is like living history. And so I just wanted to share my life story, some of the experiences and challenges that I've gone through with others, because I just believe that no matter what our struggles are, or what our challenges are, there's a common thread that enables all of us to overcome and endure. And so by sharing some excerpts from my life, then perhaps others who are having challenges and struggles, they can benefit from reading the book that I've written, The Last Colored Girl.
And you talk about struggles in life and the importance of self-esteem, personal identity that leads to self-actualization. Share with our viewers your insights on how you can avoid, especially at this time of the year, going into a brand new year, how you can avoid having low self-esteem or poor self-image.
I think it's just very important that we know who we are. And more importantly, as Sister Pearlie Wadlington often says to us, it's important to know to whom we belong. And so as a Christian, I know that I'm a child of God. And so that's what helps me get through pretty much any challenges or obstacles that I come across. And for people who have not made that leap of faith to trust in God and they're searching for success, I just believe that hard work pays off, but true success is in really knowing Jesus Christ and trusting Him to help us and guide us through this life. And it's also important that we feel good about ourselves. Now, when I was growing up, we had teachers as models, and really no one really said to me that you could be a doctor or a lawyer if you strive for that. But the teachers did set a good example for myself and my classmates. And so today it's important that people know that they can dream big and that they can reach their goals if they just persevere and keep at it and not be discouraged by perhaps jealousy or people who do not have their best in mind for them. And so I worked for Indianapolis Public Schools for 40 years, retired in 2012. But since that time, I've been doing some acting and some modeling. And then I wrote the book, The Last Colored Girl, because I shared my story with some students at Shortridge, and another teacher heard me talk about this, and she said, oh, that's worth sharing. And so at Shortridge, every Friday, they have Friday Connect. And this one teacher kept asking me if I would be a part of Friday Connect. And I didn't feel worthy to do that. So I said to myself, if I write that book, then I would really have something to offer students, and then I can come back and become a part of Friday Connect. And even though the book is about my life story, in addition to being a public school teacher, I'm also a Sunday school teacher at Pilgrim Baptist Church, where Pastor Leroy Wallington is the pastor. And so I've been a Sunday school teacher there for probably about 40 years almost. And so I think it's just important that, especially for our younger generation, we try and help to educate the whole child. And just book knowledge isn't going to do it. They also need
Practical experience.
Right, practical experience. They also need the Word of God to help them in making wise decisions.
Now, you have a chapter in the book called Early Childhood, and certainly there's a lot of energy in the state of Indiana with regard to making sure that kids or young people get a good start. What are your insights with regard to early childhood?
When I was growing up, a lot of times I didn't get to go to school because I had to stay home and pick cotton. And so today, when I see students maybe who want to play around and not take advantage of this opportunity for a good education, oftentimes it somewhat irritates me a little bit because I didn't really have the opportunity to go to school every day. But I think growing up, it doesn't hurt for students to start setting goals at an early age, start deciding and determining what they want to be in life and what they want to be in life, and not be swayed by the fact where my mom or my dad didn't graduate from high school, because my mom nor my dad graduated from high school. But then that didn't stop me from getting an education. In fact, out of 10 children, I'm child number 8, and I'm the first one to graduate from high school.
Wow.
I'm the only one to get a college degree. So I continue in the field of education to try to do my very best in helping our young folks do their very best.
Wow. Now, you talk about in the book using the Bible as a guide for
Right.
Christian living.
Right, I picked up on that as I
And that would almost seem
say.
self-explanatory.
Right. But it isn't,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
No, not at all, not at all. Now, I've taught thousands of students in my day, and some of them maybe would not take the time to pick up a Bible and read it. But because I was their teacher, they might take the opportunity to read my book. So I wanted to be sure that included in the book is how to be saved. And so once you're saved, you have a Christian responsibility. You have a changed life, and you have to live the kind of life or walk in the newness of life. And so what we need to do, all of those vices need to be replaced with virtues. And those virtues, we can find out how to take on those virtues by checking out the Word of God.
Word of God can give us the guidance that we need if we apply ourselves accordingly.
I certainly agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
Yeah.
And so I read my Bible daily, and it really it helps. I mean, you can call on friends to help you this or that, but there comes a time when there are going to be situations where your friends can't help you. Mama, daddy can't help you. And then you're going to have to depend and trust in the Lord for yourself.
Right.
And so I just would love to see young folks prepare toward that end.
Well, certainly thank you for your service to all the
Let
children
me show that book.
that you taught over the years, and all the best to the book and your acting and modeling going
Thank you
forward.
so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This book can be purchased on
Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Or if not, get in touch with Miss Joanne Jones Carnett. She's a traveling bookstore.
Right.
She says she has them in her car when she stops. So make sure you do that and support her in this community as it relates to her trying to steer young people in the right direction.
Stay with us. China Doll is up next. She has a syndicated internet program as well as many other things that she's doing to impact the quality of life for folks who live in our community. We'll be back after this.
Real people, real voices, keep it real.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson, your host,
And I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
and we're joined by Miss China Doll. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. This is an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you for being here.
Likewise, yeah. So China Doll, how did you get the name?
Well, actually, the name stems from a childhood. I was summoned to be in a fashion show, and they wanted to arch my eyebrows. This is something I did not allow at a young age. But anyway, I let them do it, and they thought it would be quickly done with neat hair removal. I don't know if you're familiar with that as a lady. But anyway, it swelled up my eyebrows, and everything was just like kind of jacked up. My eyes are naturally slanted from, my family genes having, yes, we can honestly say I do have Cherokee Indian in my blood. And so we had that slant. And when that happened, that was the name they gave me. She looks like a China doll, even though it was horrific for me, what I was going through, but I looked like a China doll. And from that, it just kind of stuck. And so I went with it.
Yeah, it's held on.
From Cherokee to China Doll.
There you have it.
Talk to us about your syndicated internet show, The Real is the Real.
Yeah.
The Real is the Real is my baby. I started that in 2009 as a platform for local entertainers to be seen. We did anywhere from barbers to poets. And from that, I switched over to doing a radio talk show that we called The Real is Real. And since I launched that in 2012, we are now syndicated on, thank you, on 4 different internet radio stations, one based out of Chicago, Illinois, one out of California, New York, and then our main base is in West Palm, Florida. And so what we do there is we try to bring community leaders to the forefront, as well as celebrities and people who are just generally doing things that others need to know about.
That's phenomenal.
Yep.
Comedy.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about comedy and what you do with comedy.
At first, when I entered the entertainment field as a comic, I had to find my footing because I'm more of a, let's say, Lucille Ball, Whoopi Goldberg, and Mom Mabley wrapped into one. And so when I would go in to do stand-up, I found that I was more of a show than a stand-up because of my props and everything that I was doing. And so after finding my footing, BET Comic V reached out to me, and I was blessed to be on their show for 3 seasons and entertain the troops overseas, Germany, Japan, Korea, Amsterdam, and when you learn that this is what you want to do, be a comedian, It's not something that you just wake up and say, hey, I want to be a comedian. It's something that God cultures you through life. And so as a child, I was bullied. A lot of people don't know it, but I was born with a crooked knee. And back then, they didn't have the surgeries that they have today. So wore this shoe, kind of like the Forrest Gump shoe that you saw him. I wore that on my leg. And needless to say, children are cruel. And so after dealing with that bullying, I learned how to make people laugh, to draw the attention away from what they were picking on me for. And so at an early age, God was cultivating me to
be a
become a
comic.
comedian. And so different things that he took me through in life. I actually did it like a lot of comics as a dare. I went out with some friends to a comedy club, and it was open mic, and they were like, you are crazy, you need to get up there, you crazy, you need to get up there. And so I did, and after I got off the stage, the manager came up to me and said, how long have you been doing comedy? And I said, sir, that was my first time. He said, you don't have to lie, I'm gonna pay you to do this, but you don't have to lie. How long have you been doing it? I said, sir, that was my first time doing it. And so I didn't pursue it then because it really wasn't, I liked what the experience was, but it just wasn't on me. And then years later, I went to a Bruce Club, 559 in Atlanta, and it was an open mic, and I got up and did that. And Bruce came over to me. It was a rough night. Now, this was a place where if you weren't funny, they would literally throw things at you, like get off the stage. And they were having a rough night that night. And so I had a good performance as just someone coming in. And Bruce actually paid me $25 that night. That was unheard of for an unknown to come in and be paid. And so after that experience is when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try this. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
That's all right. You talk about the importance of people helping each other.
Right.
In the 21st century, that seems to be a big challenge. Everybody's out for
Yeah.
themselves.
Massive challenge.
Yeah, you have the internet, you have all this hate out here. Your thoughts on how people can help each other more?
Well, I think we have to get back to community. I think the selfishness that is taking place now, everybody's like this, and, nobody's doing this anymore. There's no more eye contact. We don't verbally speak. We don't even speak to each other. The phone is texting and all that. So I think we have to get back to personalism, like, hey, how was your day today? Some people may find that offensive, but if you're not all up over the person, it's okay. We're losing our human contact, and this is an energy that God put us here together, to unite together, to be together. And so I think we have to get back to community outlook, and opposed to inward looking about what am I going to do for me today, and opposed to what can I do for you today. Not understanding that what I do for you today is going to help me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if you're a better person, then that space that you're occupying is better, and then it kind of trickles down. So I'm a firm believer that we have to get back to being our brother's keepers, and opposed to worried about your selfishness all the time.
Yeah.
We're experiencing that on a large scale. And hopefully what the message you bring to us today, people will take heed to the fact that it's not just about us, but it's about everyone.
Yes,
It's about everyone, and that's where we need to be.
And I want to point this out, if you don't mind, that there's a lot of people that are doing things that people don't know that are happening. Our organization has partnered with John Paul and a young gentleman by the name of Kevin K.O. Cates. And you all probably haven't even heard of this, but right now, there is a phone service that is connected with everything that you need in your life to help you be prepared for things that could happen. If you go to GoFundMe right now, everybody's trying to bury somebody, right? They're begging for money. Pastor's doing a fish fry to lay someone to rest. Well, there's a phone service now available that we've come up with that includes $100,000 accidental death insurance, $20,000 burial insurance, identity theft protection, prepaid legal, roadside assistance, and telemedicine. Now, if you don't know what telemedicine is, that is if you don't have medical insurance, you can simply FaceTime with a doctor who can tell you what you're going through, and if you need to see a doctor, or if he can just write you a prescription. But all this comes now with a cell phone that's bundled with all of these amenities in it for $49 a month. And that's unlimited talk, text, and data. Now, that is something that everybody's be like, are you what? Let me get it. But when you take it out into the communities, they'd rather have music bundled with their cell phone. They'd rather have game apps bundled with their cell phone. So there are people that are actually reaching out to do things that we don't know about. And then when it's brought to us, we tend to want to buck it because we don't, think
We're
that
not
that's
the
normal.
We're not the author of it.
Exactly. There you have it, Pastor. You know what I'm talking about. So I just
Yeah.
want to let people know that you have to look. But there are plenty of us out here living the let me help my brother, and opposed to just worrying about ourselves.
Thank you so much.
All the best to what you're doing, and thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me, and God bless your mission for what you're doing here, putting the word out for people. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Keep it real.
Welcome back. What an exciting 2 segments. We also want to thank Lee Castle and Crowley, attorneys at law,
Fervent Care Christian Academy as well,
Stewart Mortuary.
for being our sponsors that makes this possible. We want to thank you personally, sponsors. And if anybody wants to become a sponsor, just contact us. We'll make sure it happens.
Yeah, glad to have Faith here.
I'm happy to be here. Hello, pastors.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good,
Wonderful two guests that you had. Very interesting, very dynamic.
Yeah, China that just was with us. A very interesting piece of work. And I say that in a good way.
Yeah, China gave me a couple of breaks. She helped me out. She talked about helping other people. She helped me out a lot. And she's been a fixture here in Indianapolis and really all over the country for quite a few years. She's got an incredible story.
Yeah, and Miss Joanne's book.
Yes, The Last Colored Girl.
She actually picked cotton, she said.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to say anything about that. I figured he would. You would. I figured you would. Because I have some heritage of cotton picking in my family as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know I do. I know what mom and daddy used to do.
Yeah, well, I think we all do. But we certainly want to thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll stay with us each Sunday at 5:30, and on Friday nights, you certainly don't want to miss the show.
At 9:30.
At 9:30. Go to YouTube, WHMB TV 40 on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook. Stay connected. We'll see you next time on Real People, Real Voices.